Hello everyone, I am the Dark Sorceress of Saponification, and I am here on this most malevolent of weekends to bring you your weekly dose of soapy wickedness with the help of my trusty sidekick, Lavaface. He absorbs the souls of all those who choose to wash with him. Little bit of a plot twist. Today's soap isn't actually Halloween themed. We had a fantastic soap planned out that was with skulls and spooky bits and pieces, but it only ever got to the planning stages. We never quite got round to actually making it. So that'll be next year. Today, we're actually just making a regular soap. I dressed up in all this Halloween gear purely because I'm missing the fact that I can't go trick-or-treating with my children this year. So I thought I'd bring the spookiness online and entertain? Is that the right word? I don't know. Well, entertain you guys instead. Today we are going to be making another of our naturally coloured soaps. We're going to be using a drop swirl technique, and we're going to be using infused oils to create some pink and purple shades in the soap. We'll be using madder powder, we'll be using alkanet root, and we shall be using indigo powder to hopefully create a really pretty, naturally coloured, not spooky at all, unfortunately, soap. So, come into my lair and join me. Let's go. So before we even bring the lye into the equation today, I want to actually show you how we are going to begin today's soap, because it is a little bit more involved than a lot of our soaps that we do, in the way that we have actually split all the oil down into separate portions before we've added lye and before we've brought to trace, purely because we want to colour these oils different colours, and there is no olive oil yet in any of these. So the olive oil portion of the recipe is going to be added in just a moment. So what we did is we melted all of our oils except the olive oil. So we've got the liquid oils and the solid oils all melted into one pan, and I've split them down according to the percentages that I need for the recipe. So in this jug here I've got 50%, and in this jug here I have got 20%, and I've got 15% in each of these jugs. And this larger portion is going to stay plain in colour, so that's just going to be usual regular olive oil that goes into that one. So we're going to get rid of that one, and we're just going to work with these three at the moment. And what we have got for these three is a different colour infused olive oil for each portion of the oil. I would say batter, but it's not batter yet, so olive oil, regular oil, we're going to mix them together. What we have got is infused oils. This one here is indigo powder, this one here is alkanet root, and this one here is madder powder. And the way that I created these infusions was for every 100 grams of olive oil that I used, I added 5 grams of colourant. So for the indigo, for example, I popped in 100 grams of olive oil, and then I added 5 grams of the indigo powder. And I did this in just a little jam jar, mixed them together, popped them into a slow cooker, poured the water in the slow cooker up to about 2/3 of the height of the jar. Then I turned it on to low, left it for, I think it was 3 or 4 hours, and then I turned it off, the slow cooker, and just let them cool down naturally. And these are the infused oils that we have been left with. And I find that working at a ratio of about 5% plant matter to every 100% of oil works. I hope I'm making sense with that. Basically what I'm saying is every 100 grams of oil, we're adding 5 grams of plant matter. I think that makes sense. So they've given us these lovely colours, and these are going to be added in to the rest of the oils now, and then in a minute we can bring in the lye and start actually bringing the soap to a trace. So we'll start with this indigo powder here, which has got a lovely purple colour. Actually, I'll show you. In the final bar, I've done a little practice. I like to do a little practice with all of them. when you use this indigo infused olive oil as a full replacement for olive oil, we ended up with a soap that was this lovely pale purple colour. For the Alkanet, again the same, we replaced all the olive oil in the recipe with the infused olive oil and we ended up with this pretty darker purple colour. And for the madder, same again, we replaced the olive oil portion of the recipe with infused madder oil and it gave us this pretty pink colour. So I'm hoping we can recreate those today. Right, let's pour the indigo into the rest of the oils. I'm just going to mix it to combine it, and obviously the colours that they are showing now, they're not going to be the final colours in the soap. They are going to change as they cure, they are going to change as they saponify. So as you'll see with the Alkanet, at the minute it's a really kind of vibrant red colour. That's not going to stay vibrant red, that is definitely going to fade to more of a purple colour. And the other thing with these colourants is they definitely need to go through gel phase, otherwise they will fade quicker and they won't be as vibrant, and Alkanet especially, if it doesn't go through gel, we find that we get a very muted, almost grey sort of colour. So we will be gelling these, and I shall discuss at the end of the video how to do that and how to try and force gel if you need to. There we go. It'd be kind of nice if it did say this colour in the soap, but it won't. And lastly, again, the madder. And the madder actually at the minute doesn't look the prettiest of colours. This is one of these colourants that once it's added into the oils and the lye is added and it changes, it actually develops a much prettier colour than it starts out. So now we've got all our oils infused together with the colours. We are going to need to add our lye now, and obviously because we have got 20% of the recipe in this cup, or this jug, whatever you want to call it, we are going to need 20% of the lye water. And again, we've got 15% in both of these, so I'm going to need to weigh out 15% of my lye water to get in here. It needs to be exact, because if you don't put the correct amounts in, it's going to either be lye heavy or it's not going to have enough lye. It could either crumble or just fall apart or just be too mushy and soft and oily. So if you are going to do something like this, absolutely make sure that you are weighing out the correct amount of lye water to go into your individual portions. And that's what I'm going to do now. So now I'm ready to add the lye. So of course I've got my gloves and goggles on now, and we're going to start by adding the lye to the biggest portion of the oils. This is 50%. So in here I have got 50% of the lye water, and I'm just going to pour it carefully into the oils here. And we're working at a temperature of about 115 degrees today, so we are on the warm side. I mean, fairly often we will soap at lower temperatures than this, but today we are at 115 degrees. And I'm just going to bring this to a light trace. We want all of the batters to be at a light trace today, because if we need to thicken them up, it's going to be easy to thicken them up, but virtually impossible to thin them down if they get too thick. So we're going to be starting at a light trace today. So now that this one's done, I'm going to put it to one side and I'm going to bring in the madder oil. So this is 20%, so I'm going to need to add lye water at 20% of the total weight into here. So it's exactly as before, 20% of the lye water being poured carefully into our madder infused oil, and then we're going to bring it again to a very light trace. I probably won't show you me bringing the rest of these to a trace because you've seen me do it once, so there's no real need for me to show you me doing it again. So I'll just show you the fully traced completed batter. There we go, we've brought this one to a light trace and you can already see that madder root colour starting to change. So we'll pop this one to one side, and now we shall bring in the Alkanet. And again, this is a 15% of the total batter, oils, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to need to add in 15% lye water to this one. So in with the lye water, and when we bring this one to a trace, you will see that the colour will have changed quite substantially from this pretty red colour, and it'll probably be looking a rather muted greyish colour, but that's okay. So there you go, that pretty red colour is completely changed now, but that was to be expected. Alkanet does change colour quite substantially as you use it, and it should change again during the cure back to that purple colour that we like. So the last one that we are doing now is the indigo powder infusion. Again, this is 15%, so again we're going to need 15% of our total lye water into here. There we go. And again, we're going to be bringing this to a light trace, and then we're going to be done with the tricky mathematical part, and we can move on to the much more fun, creative soaping part. And there we go. As you can see, the indigo portion has gone a very, very pale kind of grey colour. And again, that's nothing to worry about. Hopefully, as it cures, as it saponifies, as long as we've let it go through gel, this should change to a much prettier colour. So let's move on to doing the actual fun part. So we want the bottom half of our soap to all be that nice creamy white colour. So we're going to tip all of this first 50%, the uncoloured portion of the batter, down into the mould. And then we're going to use those other colours that we've created to hopefully create some really pretty drop swirls throughout the top of the soap. So we've got the base done now, so we're going to bring the colours back in. I'm going to start with the madder, which to be honest, I think I managed to slightly over trace. It is looking a little thick. I'm just going to try and give it a stir to loosen it a bit. And then all we're going to do is hold the jug nice and high and just allow the soap just to flow out of the jug and down through that lower layer, and we're just going to sort of do that with it. There's no real rhyme or reason or pattern, it is just purely how you wish to do the design. So now I'm coming in to the Alkanet one, which is looking a pretty blue. It will not stay a pretty blue, but at the minute it's a pretty blue. And we're just going to go over the top of where we've been with those other madder colours. Swirl through like that. And then lastly, bring in the one that we have coloured with indigo powder. And again, hold it nice and high and trickle it through. The indigo and the Alkanet have got quite a nice thickness to them. It is purely the madder that I over mixed slightly. I mean, it's not a major issue, it's still trickling out, just not as nicely as I was hoping it would have done. Anyway, I'm going to continue doing this now to fill up the rest of the mould, and then we'll be back. Well, then we'll be back. I don't know where I was going with that. So there we go, we have filled the mould now, and I'm a little disappointed that I over traced my madder infused oil. I say the indigo and the alkanet worked perfectly, but the madder was a little bit too thick, so that may well show throughout the final soap, but it'll just make it a little bit more unique, won't it? And now we're just going to try and make the top look a little bit pretty. We're not going to add any botanicals or anything, or pull it up or do anything fancy with it today. We're just going to use a simple chopstick. And I'm just gonna go up and down like so. And then I'm just gonna go from side to side as well. And as you can see, it really does change the look of the top of a soap. Just a simple technique like this. Because it looked like a great big mess, but now we've just done a really simple chopstick design, and we've ended up with that. And I'm debating whether we should sort of swirl it as well. I mean, we could just go all out and just swirl. Why not? We'll probably mess it up, but we can always start again. Just sort of swirling it however I sort of fancy. No particular pattern or style. There we go. Actually, that doesn't look too bad, does it? There we go. Let's go with it like that. And as you can see, we've got some pretty colours going on at the moment. Remember, they will not stay that colour. What we need to do now is try and force this soap to gel. And that means allowing the soap to heat up enough so that the colours become much more pronounced. And you can do that by popping it into something like a cardboard box and insulating it with a towel, or popping it into a wooden box. Just pop it into a box. But the way I like to do it is by preheating my oven. I've been preheating my oven while this soap's been being made to 50 degrees centigrade. I'm afraid I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but 50 degrees centigrade. And then I'm going to simply pop this soap into the oven. But when I pop the soap into the oven, I will have turned the oven off. You do not want the oven on while the soap is in there. But I've preheated, turned the oven off, pop the soap into the oven. I'm going to leave the oven light on, and then I'm just going to allow the soap to sit in the oven like that with the light on for a good few hours. I mean, I'll probably leave it in overnight, to be honest, and then hopefully by tomorrow that will have allowed for enough heat for this soap to have gone through a gel phase to make the colours stick nicely, and also to bring out the best in them, because with natural colourants you really want to gel them to bring out the best in them, to really bring out those bright purples and those vibrant pinks. So let me get this in the oven, and hopefully by tomorrow we'll have a pretty soap. So it's been 2 days and we have unmoulded and cut the soap, and this is what it looks like on the inside. So I am really happy with this one. You can see all the different colours. You've got the red madder there, the darker purple is the Alkanet, and the lighter purple is the indigo powder. Now obviously these colours are probably going to change during the cure. I would imagine them to just sort of lighten up a bit, but that's giving us a rough idea of the colours that we're going to have achieved, so I'm really happy with them. Every slice is a little bit different. As you can see, this one has got more of the madder colour coming through it. And I don't think it really mattered that the madder was a little bit thicker than I wanted it to be, because if anything, it's just added something to the swirl design. So, pretty happy with today's design, and let us know what you think. So here is today's naturally coloured drop swirl soap, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out. I'm really happy with the pinks and the purples that we've managed to achieve from the natural colourants, and it just goes to show that if you are actually planning making soaps without using mica or anything like that, that the colours don't have to be boring, and you can actually achieve a really nice spectrum of different colours purely using clays and plant extracts. And we'll be doing more of these videos showcasing different colours and schemes and things like that over the coming weeks. If you've enjoyed today's video, please do give us a like, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell. If you want to visit our website, you can do so here. And if you do wish to make a purchase, you can use our discount code here. I will leave you guys to all have a fantastically spooky Halloween, however you choose to. Shame about the trick-or-treating, but let's cross our fingers that next year it can be back on track, because you are never too old for trick-or-treating. And sweets. Lots and lots of sweets. So, have a fantastic weekend, and I shall see you later.